You said happy birthday to yourself, in your head, before anyone else remembered. That's not low maintenance. That's someone who learned a long time ago not to need anything from the people who were supposed to show up. Picture a child waiting, not impatiently, carefully. A specific day marked on a calendar that meant something to them and somehow not enough to the people around them. Maybe the day passed quietly. Maybe there was performance without warmth. The cake was there, but the attention wasn't. Maybe the focus landed somewhere else entirely, on another person, on a mood, on something that had nothing to do with the child standing there, trying to want less. Developmental psychologists call this an attachment rupture, a moment when a child reaches for connection and the hand isn't there. One rupture doesn't break anything, but a rupture on the same day, year after year, teaches the nervous system something permanent. Here is what it taught yours. The first sign is that you deflect when people try to celebrate you. Oh, please don't make a fuss. You've said that. You meant it to sound easygoing. It wasn't easygoing, it was armor. Because somewhere underneath the deflection is the old calculation. If I don't let them build it up, I won't feel it when it falls short. You learned that hope was the dangerous part. Not disappointment, hope. Disappointment you could survive. But the specific feeling of having wanted something from specific people and watching it not arrive, that one had a shape. So you got ahead of it. You minimized the day before anyone else could. You called yourself low maintenance. You made it easy for people to forget because easy was safer than wanting. This isn't modesty. This is what happens when a child's excitement was met, enough times, with something less than they needed. If that is familiar, leave a 1 in the comments. But the second sign is quieter and it does more damage. The second sign is that you feel inexplicably low in the days leading up to it. Not sad about anything specific, just heavy. A kind of preemptive grief that arrives before the day does and doesn't fully leave until it's over. You probably call it nothing. You tell yourself you're just tired, or that birthdays are overrated, or that adults who care about their birthday are embarrassing. But that heaviness is not random. The body keeps a calendar the mind pretends not to. And every year, as the date approaches, something old fires in the nervous system. The anticipation of a need that history says will not be fully met. Psychologist Bessel van der Kolk documented how the body stores unresolved emotional events as physical sensation rather than memory. You're not anxious about this birthday. You're anxious about every birthday that came before it. This isn't moodiness. This is what happens when a recurring day became a recurring reminder that you are not the priority. And then there is the sign that happens during the day itself. The third sign is that you feel profoundly alone, even when people are there. The room is full. People said the right things. Maybe there was a dinner, a message, a gesture, and you sat inside all of it, feeling like you were watching from slightly outside your own body. Not ungrateful, just unreached. The loneliness isn't about the number of people present. It is about the specific quality of being seen that you needed and didn't get early enough. When the people who were supposed to know you best treated the day as an obligation or an afterthought, you internalized a belief. Being celebrated is something that happens to other people. People who deserve it differently than you do. So now when it does happen, when someone actually tries, you can't let it land. There's a pane of glass between you and it. You smile. You thank them. You feel nothing get through. This isn't ingratitude. This is what happens when a child stopped expecting to be held, and the body never fully unlearned that. If that one landed, leave a 2 in the comments. What comes next is the part nobody names directly. Now stop for a second. Hating your birthday is not a personality quirk. It is a scar from a recurring wound. Every year the same day arrived, and every year it asked the same question. Are you worth making something of? And every year, something in the answer fell short. You adapted. You stopped asking. You made the day small before it could make you feel small first. That was not weakness. That was intelligence. The last sign is where that intelligence finally turns against you. The fourth sign, and the deepest one, is that you feel guilty for wanting it to be different. You catch yourself hoping. Then, you shame yourself for hoping. I'm too old for this. It's just a day. I sound pathetic. That voice is not maturity. That is the internalized verdict of every adult who made you feel like your needs were too much. The wanting is not the problem. The wanting is exactly right. A birthday is not about cake. It is about someone saying, "You exist," and that is worth marking. Every human being needs that. You needed it. You still need it. And the part that breaks something in you is not that you didn't get it. It is that you now do the work of withholding it from yourself. So no one else has to bother. You became the person who preemptively diminishes the one day that was supposed to be only yours. That is not low maintenance. That is a wound that learned to look like a preference. Here is what is actually true. The first false belief is that wanting to be celebrated means you are needy. You are not needy. You are human. The shift is this. Let yourself want the day to matter, without deciding in advance that it won't. Anticipation is not weakness, not. The second false belief is that if the right people don't show up in the right way, the day proves something about your worth. It proves nothing about your worth. It proves something about their capacity. The shift is to stop outsourcing the verdict on your value to people who were never equipped to deliver it correctly. The third false belief is that you should be over this by now. You are not over it because the wound was never treated. It was just rebranded as a personality trait. The shift is to name it clearly, without drama and without shame. This day has always been hard, and there is a reason, and the reason is real. It started with a child who wanted one day to feel like the center of something safe. That child did not get enough of that. And so they grew into someone who dismantles the day before it can disappoint them, who deflects the attention before it can fall short, who calls the whole thing overrated because overrated is easier than heartbroken. The cost is concrete. It is another year where the day passes like weather, endured, not received. Another year of being in the room and not letting anything in. Another year of that pane of glass. What would change, not tomorrow, not after some long process, if you finally stopped being the one who makes yourself small on the one day that was always supposed to belong to you? Send this to someone who always says they don't care about their birthday, because they probably care more than anyone, and they've just stopped admitting it.